The VOC Nation.
Hello once again, everyone. It's Mike Tenay from TNA Wrestling, and welcome to In the Room. Here's Brady.
Not outdated at all, by the way.
Bro, Jordan, and Derek.
Yeah.
Stop calling me Derek. You need to get some new drops with Hardcore and the Hack in them. That's all I'm saying.
I've got about 8 years worth. I just haven't had the time to go back and do them.
We're on an easy street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a street, and you're on easy street, and we're breaking out the good champagne.
All right, we're breaking out the good champagne. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network, right here live on VOCNation.com, and, of course, all your favorite podcast providers as well. I'm Brady Hicks. Great show planned for tonight. We'll get to that in a second, guys. But before that, we have the lovely Kathy Fitz once again. What's going on, Kathy?
Not much, Brady. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. You know, I was thinking we ought to rework this because I ask you how you're doing, then you answer with how are you doing, and it always messes me up. In friggin' 9 years, I haven't figured out how to best answer that to not destroy the flow. But I'm doing well, Kathy. I'm doing really well. We also have the one and only...
What do you have next happy day?
What's that?
So next time I'll just say, you're having a crappy day? Good.
Oh, good. We also have the one and only Maestro of professional wrestling, Papa Stro. What's going on, sir?
Oh, great to be here. You know, somewhere out there, Norman Reedus is jamming out to the Easy Street intro you just played. But I'm doing great. Good to be with you guys, man. The highlight of the week for me, man.
Oh, it's always a blast. Always a blast. I'll start on my top left here. We have the Hack, Patrick Hackett, back once again. What's going on, sir?
What's up, Brady Hicks? I am glad you chose the Gazpacho.
Oh, I always choose the Gazpacho. I never heard that nickname now.
That's my new nickname. Yeah, I'm
new.
the Gazpacho.
Also, I'm calling myself the Gazpacho now. Yeah. And
Old soup. Great.
And he's hardcore. We got Kevin Brady joining us.
That's right. It's me. It's HKB. Coming to you ringside here in the room with Brady Hicks and the Stro. This Gazpacho thing is all new to me, man. I don't know where that came from. I don't endorse it.
I thought it came from
are.
a very famous Becky Lynch tweet this week, but now I'm beginning to think that somebody may have changed that and posted it in a group I'm in. So I might have got a little work.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So let me give out the number real quick. And we actually have a guest tonight, so we might hold off a little bit to take the calls. But, guys, please hang tight. I see Malcolm. I think that's Dr. John. If you guys can hang tight, I definitely want to talk to you here tonight. It's just we're going to wait a little bit for that because coming up in a very short little while, we're actually going to have Colin Hunter. Colin is the creator, I guess you'd say, the founder of the popular news site. Can you even call it a news? I guess in today's world, you can call it a news site. Sure. kayfabenews.com.
That's fake news, kayfabe news.
It's news to me, damn it. You know, it's kayfabe news. Popular, incredible headlines. The ingenious secret behind the double referee with the Hebners and Shane McMahon relaunching WCW. Lots of great stuff that they've got.
I was going to tell you that, Brady. Oh, God, I'm glad you said that. A fan came to me, right? And messaged me, and it was like, "Are you going to be in the new WCW coming up?" I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here, right?" I said, "Well, Shane McMahon's going to bring. He made an announcement on I saw on YouTube he's going to bring WCW back, right?" And I'm thinking, okay. I was curious. I'm just curious. I haven't heard anything yet, but where'd you hear this from? and he sent me the link. It was kayfabe
Kayfabe
news.
news.
And I'm dying. Oh my god, I'm dying. I'm tears in my eyes.
Yep. See,
Hey,
like that
look,
would cause.
I saw it on TV. Heck, you were sitting in the room with me. Shane McMahon is the owner of WCW. I think he can bring it back anytime he wants. Nitro 2.0, baby. Let's do it. Now with a purple logo.
Wouldn't that be cool for AEW Dynamite? To have Shane McMahon bring WCW.
They have to. They have.
You
I
can
mean,
go in
it's out of the
and-
family, right? There's no coming back from this.
But here's my thing. Like I would, and again, I tend to double check my sources. If I saw on the same page that Jeff Jarrett is pulling all of his music off of Spotify, that would make me wonder if that's a real headline. Like, is that a real headline? You know?
You know, Road Dogg actually gets the money when they play his music because of the whole situation there. It got ugly.
Yeah, those royalties, man. You know
But I'll
it.
tell you what, if I can no longer go on Spotify and hear the great tunes of JEFFJARRETTJ, you know what? I'm going to delete the goddamn app.
I mean, it's. All right, we're not talking about this in the episode, but like, With My Baby Tonight is a good song. It's a good song.
Oh, it's a great song.
It's
an
a good
amazing song. Yeah,
It's my wife
favorite
and I's
country
first
song.
dance.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh,
I
nice.
was there. He can't take it back.
That's great. Yeah, so we'll be talking kayfabe news tonight. That's around 9:30, so we got about 20 minutes until we bring on Colin. Pat, I know you also wanted to talk about Pat McAfee. I don't know. Is that something we can do in 15 minutes?
Oh,
Like, I feel
absolutely.
like about 30 seconds is fine.
So this is like, I was met with really a lot of hostility when I said I want to talk about Pat McAfee. So I don't
I
watch
hate
the
him.
right, and rightfully
Just kidding.
so. I mean, he's just as bad as the other jabron that they have there on the pre-show who used to be with Opie and Anthony. I can't even think of his name.
I know who you mean.
The one that used to do the
Yeah.
show with Jim Norton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there was something about Pat McAfee and what he was doing that I think professional wrestling has missed the boat on for a very long time. And now the presentation is horrible. His delivery is atrocious. Every single moment is like the biggest moment there is. And now I can say these things because I've done it and I've been terrible at it too. But having the fans' perspective in the booth is something that I think was really missing. And when people are always talking about, well, when I was in the ring, this, that, and the other, he, besides that brief little bit, he didn't train, he hasn't been in the business, and he's a fan. And having that fan's perspective, I thought was really nice, especially in the Rumble match that is such a fan favorite event, and having him kind of go for it. But no, I did not like him, but I did like that, and I thought it was a good choice, and I think more people should capitalize on that. Everybody's so professional, but taking a fan and just saying this is somebody who's followed our product, like my boy Ryan Bodie, who's on the bump with WWE, he's a fan. He hasn't trained, he isn't in the ring, he loves the business, and that's a great perspective to have.
And not
It
only
is,
that,
but I
it's
don't want them calling the action. I don't want them to be a character on the show. He reminds me of, and I don't remember the guy's name, but I think he was like kind of biggish coming out of NXT at one point. That was like the dude bro character. You got to know who I'm talking about.
Adam Rose?
No, but around that
Zack
same
Ryder?
time, I think.
Zack Ryder?
No, whoever the guy. He was,
Zack Ryder.
he was like the dude that was
Mojo
like
Rawley?
a frat guy. Mojo Rally. That's
Oh, I hate that guy
yeah.
too. I hate him too.
exactly. He reminds me of that guy, and I'm like, I don't need that guy calling matches. That's the
No,
last thing.
I agree. I don't need that guy, but I like that perspective.
Just the
I'll tell
perspective
you what.
of being the fan. I mean, isn't everybody a fan first? I mean, it's not like there's been the occasional experiments in WWE as far as the commentary table goes with like, the current Raw guy is a former MMA announcer. I think they had Mike Goldberg for a while, but typically it's always been guys in the business, and aren't those guys fans first anyway? Don't they have that perspective?
I mean, I think they
I'm
come
asking
from
you a
different
question. Hackett.
backgrounds.
Respond to that.
Well, I'm trying to let
Can
other
you
people
not
get
hear
in
me?
my
Am I
turn.
muted? Am I muted?
No, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I felt like I kept all right. So from my perspective, WWE doesn't usually let fans talk about their product. They don't usually let fans interview their wrestlers. They don't usually. They do everything they can to diminish the efforts of anybody who hasn't done anything. Sometimes even in wrestling, but certainly in any form of media. They're the first to kind of discredit you in a lot of ways. So Pat McAfee, I recognize that he's an in for them in a lot of ways. He was what, a punter, I think.
Yeah, he was
he was a Colts punter.
That's sort of like a football player, right? I mean,
almost.
It's on the periphery of being on an NFL team, kind of. Do they even ride with the teams?
No, they have to arrange their own transportation.
I thought so. Yeah. I'm only kidding. Cavi's going to rip my head off, right, Cavi?
I won't. Brian will.
Why? He's not a punter.
Ah.
I mean, I look at it like this, guys. I look at the McAfee situation and like, the fans' perspective like this. I don't pay to listen to the fans. When I'm watching the product, that's a product I want to watch. I'll hear fan perspective if I want to go onto some Reddit board or something later, and we can shoot the breeze there. But it's like if I go to a Broadway show, I don't want them to pull the guy out of the third row to play, to play the second lead. So at the same time, I don't want some just untrained jabroni to come in and yell about what I'm watching. I know what I'm watching. I need
That's
my
right,
announcers,
fans.
and my
eat your popcorn and drink, and stay on your keyboard. And find your own business.
Yeah.
I need my announcers to be part of telling the story.
I think it's an important part of telling the story because he's talking about stuff that these more polished people who probably had Vince McMahon screaming in their ears for a decade or more aren't used to saying, and he also is not afraid of the ramifications of it. So he can mention, people who haven't been here or people who Vince might not want mentioned. What does he care? He has a pension that he's sitting on. If he gets fired, he goes back to doing his podcast and he's fine. But there's something.
You honestly think he's not being produced?
I think he's being produced, but I don't think he cares as much. There's something about that joie de vivre for the product that's not the same people saying the same things over and over again.
Isn't he the shorts guy? He's the guy that got in trouble, I think, for wearing shorts. Like early on. He was doing some segment, and Vince McMahon apparently hates shorts. So he was wearing like khaki shorts, and I guess Michael Cole got on it. I think it was him. I'm pretty sure. So like, yeah, I think it lends to that. Like, here's an outside guy. But I don't know. I feel like there should be some polish or some kind of training. I feel like most independent announcers are better than he is, or at least
I agree 100%.
Exactly.
When and a couple months ago, this was actually pretty funny. I don't remember if you guys were with the show, but Bill Apter, who's a part of the VOC Nation, in some form, he was tweeting, I guess, during SmackDown, and you got Pat McAfee up on the table dancing and screaming into the microphone for Nakamura, and Bill said something like, with all due respect, Pat, nobody wants to hear you sing or scream in my ear. I had to mute my. And Pat McAfee said, and for Bill Apter to say that, and his response to Bill Apter was, with all due respect, Bill, F off, was his answer.
Ah!
No respect. Where's the respect in the business?
It's a punter.
Undertaker would have his way with Pat McAfee.
Oh my God!
I mean, where's Vince McMahon's respect for his business? Starting the XFL 3, 6, 7 times. So let's the respect is the same street here.
The weirdest thing that was said in that whole story was that Vince McMahon doesn't like shorts. This is a man who built his fortune on men in bikini briefs, and you're telling me you don't like shorts?
Yeah. Right. Well, he doesn't like their announcers in shorts. Everybody should wear a suit.
Just like
I heard he didn't even like Jerry Lawler wearing like t-shirts. He just kind of accepted it because it was Jerry Lawler.
I think Jerry Lawler earned the right to wear a t-shirt, but I totally agree with you on the guys on the indie scene. I think that instead of putting a Pat McAfee in there, there are plenty of great announcers on the indie scene that can be called up to the big leagues. Guys who maybe modeled their careers on Bobby the Brain Heenan, had a great sense of style like Mark Madden. I'm saying guys like me, HKB, Hardcore Kevin Brady, should be in the booth next to whatever other jabroni they've got calling the action.
You do real well with Vince in your ear. You'd handle that tremendously. No, I hear what you're all saying, and I get it. He's not the person to deliver it. I think there's somebody that can add that. It gets tiresome when it's always the people who've been in the ring, and I just need something different. I think that's the big problem with WWE as a whole is it needs something different. And I was looking for anything to like latch onto at that point in time as I grew more and more miserable as the pay-per-view wore on. But I thought that having like that energy, that kind of like, I'm popping for the guys I want to pop for, I'm not really going by the book. I liked it. He's not the right delivery system for it, but I think there's something there. I think it's AEW's announcers are all great, but they've been in it for 1,000 years, and everybody has some sort of in-ring experience. When they had a chance to really change their product and go and kind of either pull somebody from the indies who might not have, been a worker, or pull somebody from entertainment that might have, a different perspective than anybody else. Pat McAfee is not the answer, but I think he brings a little something to the table.
Yeah, just like the guy from the Monty Python on the desk saying, now for something completely different.
There it is, bro. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is just my impression. Again, I haven't talked to anybody with WWE specifically about Pat McAfee, but I think he turned a lot of heads with that Adam Cole feud that they did. What was it, 2 years ago now in NXT? He held his own with the guy, on the mic and as well as in the ring. And I felt like maybe he didn't earn the spot that he's in. I'm sure it's a combination of celebrity and that, but they all seem to like him. They do. I for my money, Stro, I can feel Stro groaning right now. I like Corey Graves. I think like Corey Graves is like, to me, Corey Graves is the new like Bobby Heenan type. I enjoy that.
That's several bridges too far.
I need a drink.
I was just about to ask if there will ever be like another Jesse Ventura, a guy who's at the top of the card and then retires to become like your top flight analyst.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
There. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I'm not even getting to finish. Yeah, I feel like I'm not saying he's there. I'm just saying he's kind of in that mold, and I can see what he does, and I appreciate it. And I think it's really hard to do inspiring commentary with the product being what it is.
Bobby Heenan, really?
Well, you don't see how he's modeled after Bobby Heenan. He goes out there and he makes fun of everybody. I do. I think he does.
Yeah, but he's not a coward about it like Bobby Heenan was. That's what makes Bobby great. Is he was a coward. The day Corey Graves shows up in a
can't be a coward on the day.
I can see some ways maybe, but
I can see what you're saying. It's miles and miles off. The stuff that with Corey Graves that's like super cringy for me is all the stuff with Carmella. Like, dude, we know you, we know the story, and there's some people that like just don't jig on that kind of stuff, and I'm one of those. Like, man, it's just gross.
I mean, I will admit Corey Graves has grown on me.
Yeah,
as a commentator,
I think he's a good. I think he's a good bad guy announcer. That's all. I just think he's good.
He and Morrow,
and I think he can get better.
He and Morrow were fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know what his history with. I don't know what his history with Carmella is, Hack. But
this is
okay. Yeah, because I was just like, I don't.
That he meant while he was with his wife.
Better. It's always that little twist to the story that makes it better.
Zing. Yeah, you were saying?
We do need some good announcers. I think like there is something we saw a little bit of controversy over the past couple of weeks with Ken Kennedy and about how he's training people. There is something to be said for seeing one of your students in the ring and be like, you're terrible. Why don't you go over there and making something from that? I mean, not everybody's cut out to be a worker, and not everybody wants to be breaking down their bodies at 25, making $50 if the house isn't light, It's viable.
I for my money, and again, take my opinion for what it's worth. I think Corey Graves is pretty good. I like Tom Phillips a lot. He's the guy that left, and now he's the Impact announcer. He was doing Raw for a while, and I thought he was really good at it, And when you had him on one, you're like, well, they're different kind of announcers. One's the straight guy, and one's the bad guy. Yeah,
legit.
I have no problem.
I like it better than Michael Cole.
I have no problem with their announcers by and large, specifically Jimmy Smith and Michael Cole is fine. Michael Cole is like the least inspiring announcer ever, but he's efficient.
You know, like efficient is the best way to put it. You know, he tells the story, but I could be more entertained returning a library book than listening to SmackDown.
I mean, Michael Cole has been the same. He's been the same guy since 2001. I mean, he has not changed a lick. He's not gotten better. He's not gotten worse. He's just completely even keeled.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He's the guy that got Jim Ross's nod.
Nothing against Corey. I mean, he's okay. He's okay to me. You know, he's just I don't know. Comparing him to
hates Corey.
Some of the I don't know. To me, Corey's Corey. You know what I mean? He has his own style.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's ever, and let me qualify, I don't think there's ever going to be another Bobby Heenan or Jesse Ventura. I just think he tries to be in that mold, and I don't think he's terrible.
I don't think there's going to be like another JR, another Shivani. I mean, Gordsoli. There's definitely never going to be another Joey Styles because no company will ever let somebody get the one-person booth like that.
I love Joey, man. He's amazing.
To me,
he's the Vin Scully of wrestling.
He's my goat. Like that's my favorite. That's my number one. But
and I'll tell you what,
we should start like announcer boot camp somewhere, and then take kids' money and tell them they're going to be world champ.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
I like
and for
too.
It's sad that he's not there anymore, but he's doing what's best for him. You know.
That's right.
For my money, honestly, they have one of the best color guys in the business, and they won't put him anywhere near the booth, and it's a shame. In Paul Heyman, the work that he was doing in 2001 was amazing, and all the stuff that he did for ECW, it really is a waste for him to be out there on one segment every show.
Yeah, I think that's why it's a waste, is because he's only out there for one segment. But I mean, he's such a great mouthpiece and manager. I'd like to give him a whole stable of guys and give him like 3 segments an episode.
He's like a Bobby Heenan, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, or Crawley Dangerously. I mean, he's, you know.
I'm just kidding. But Pat McAfee, I'm not I don't know.
He's no Bobby Heenan. And if Pat McAfee's got a problem, if Pat McAfee has a problem with that, then he can step inside this ring with me. This ring right behind me.
At my house.
Pat McAfee is no Byron Saxton. I mean...
Byron. Yeah.
Good old Byron.
Man, I had no idea
he's entertaining. Byron is. He's entertaining, man.
I like him.
When his like promo pics and his like highlight reel, I was like, oh dear God, dude, you should have figured this out a long time before that you did not belong here. Like, man, I can say it. Like I said, I can say that because I was garbage to watch in a professional wrestling ring. Not good at all. But hey, I can keep you entertained.
Right? Yeah, it's not that hard.
No.
Oh my God. And here's another one. They had him for years, Stro. How many years did we talk about it? We even had him on this show talking about it. Booker T was another amazing announcer. And not that long ago, they had him on there like, what, 3-4 years ago? Like, he was great. He was...
Oh, man. I miss him.
I don't know why they took him off. Yeah.
He seems like he fell out with WWE a little bit. Like,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he left. Like,
probably.
I don't know he was fired, was he?
Well, I mean, I don't know that a legend is ever really fired.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they are, but...
that legend deal.
I think they just pushed him down to like doing those shows. I'm sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, does the before the pay-per-view. He does
I know.
the panel thing.
Yeah.
But why do they do that? Like, why waste anybody on that? The only pre-show that I'll ever watch is WrestleMania, and it's only because they don't tell you when the matches are actually starting.
They trick you.
They do. I always said they should say the first match is at 5:15 and the next match is at 6:15. If they do that, I'll tune in at 5:15. But I don't want to watch Byron Saxton talking about why this is such a hate-filled match and it's going to be great. I don't really care what any of them think about the matches that they created.
Thank God for Corey carrying him.
Yeah. The next Bobby Heenan, I'll tell you.
Corey the Brain Graves.
Yeah.
Like he needs his own organ. He can't be the brain. How about Corey the Kidney Graves?
He seems more like a liver to me.
Corey the
You know,
liver grade.
I see that. His face shape with the hair
liver?
kind of, it's like a liver.
Yeah. And he's kind of yellowish, you know?
Yeah.
He's,
I honestly thought they were going to give him a spot in the Rumble. I enjoyed him tremendously in the ring when he was in NXT.
Right.
He was a fun competitor to watch.
Wasn't it an injury that ended his career, though?
Several concussions, but apparently he got cleared, or at least that's what the rumor. It could have came from our guest, for all I know.
I mean, sure,
and you know what?
Cleared, but...
That's actually the perfect segue, because joining us on the line right now is the Brain Trust, the creator, the man behind the ultra-popular kayfabenews.com, recently celebrating its 10-year anniversary in the business. Everybody from Mick Foley to, oh my God, like just about anybody out there today talking about Kayfabe News. And we have with us Colin Hunter. What's going on, Colin?
Hello. It's nice to hear from you. How are you
Brother,
doing?
it's great to hear from you. I'm excited. I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. It's always a good day when I can talk to you, my friend.
I deliberately tried to throw you off by asking you how you were doing, because you opened the show by saying you hate that happened.
I deflected.
That was my first rib.
You definitely have a sense of humor, man. I mean, to look at this website and some of these headlines. Actually, Stro, did you catch the story that Stro was saying earlier?
Yes, about WCW and Shane.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
That's wonderful. That kind of story is what makes my day. That story, the Shane McMahon relaunching WCW story, did a little more than I expected it to. It really caught on. And the last I checked, about 500,000 people have seen that story, which is quite a lot, and that's because so many people thought it was real. So on a typical day, like, my traffic isn't anywhere near that high. So I woke up one morning last week and I was like, I wonder if anybody's looking at Kayfabe News, and thousands and thousands of people are spreading that story. And apparently one of those people spread it directly to Stro, which is great.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Where do you get the inspiration for all this stuff? Is it all literally just off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been 10 years. And the last time you and I saw each other in person it was just before that, I think.
Just before that, yep.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So because I was writing for PWI and some of the related magazines, and I got this idea about 10 years ago that I wanted to sort of combine the kayfabe style of the magazines with like the humor of the Onion with my background in newspaper writing, and so I just started writing these satirical sort of Onion styled news stories, and I thought, I'll see if I can crank out a dozen of them, and then I thought, okay, I did a dozen, maybe I'll see if I can do 20, and then it was 50, and the last I checked, it was about 3,300 something.
Yeah, you've got a lot there.
So, it's just.
Yeah, so I gotta tell you, I just.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just laughed out loud at one of your pieces, and my first thought was, it transported me back to, a college radio station, laying on the couch reading a physical copy of The Onion, with this headline: Hulk Hogan's brother pleads, quote, "Please stop telling me something," end quote. Laughed out loud when I read that. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to say.
Thank you. That's every once in a while I revisit the idea of Hulk Hogan's brother, the guy who just gets told something all the time. Like, no, I don't want you to tell me something, brother.
It just makes me imagine the worst Thanksgiving ever.
Ralph Hogan.
Ralph
Hogan.
Why don't you ever talk to your sister? She's right there.
That's a good story. I do see. You asked me. I just come up with ideas off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Some of it's just by like chatting with people. That's a great idea. Hogan's sister feels like she's being ignored.
just at me on that one. You can have it. First one's free.
I'll give you. I'll send you the royalties.
Oh, sweet.
There
I'm
you go.
excited.
Still zero, so I love.
Do you have a favorite story that you've written in the last 10 years? Is there one that like jumps out at you as like the best?
Well, I wondered if you might ask that, and so I was thinking about it, and it's at different times I like all of them, but one that just keeps enduring, and I know this is Mick Foley's favorite story because he told me this, and he's even said it. Twice I've seen him do his stage act where he actually mentions the story during his show, and it's the headline. The headline is, hold on, let me make sure I get it right. John Cena visits injured self in hospital. So it's this idea that when John Cena was hurt, that John Cena went to visit John Cena to make a wish and made John Cena feel better. And I'm not very good with Photoshop. Like part of the humor is that I suck at Photoshop. And so my photos always look like shit. But this one just happened to work out where I found a picture of a guy in a hospital shaking hands with John Cena, and I do a little thing. So I've got this image of Cena in a hospital bed shaking his own hand. And anyway, there's something just so absurd about that, because the joke is that the joke isn't at the expense of anybody. The joke is actually demonstrating that John Cena has been such a hero to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the hospital that he would even visit himself. That's how far he would go. So I like that joke because it's sort of punching up instead of punching down.
Have you had any pushback from people that didn't like a particular story and maybe like a subject that you wrote about?
What, like today?
I just mean like in general. In general, I mean, like you write about Triple H and Triple H calls you up angry.
So that so far hasn't happened.
Okay.
And, there's been a couple of times. One of my very first stories 10 years ago was, I still think it's a pretty funny story, but this was when he was alive. The joke was Paul Bearer suddenly realizes his name is a pun. Like this idea that Paul Bearer, after all these years, would be like, "Oh my God, my name!" But while he was alive, he didn't find it all that funny. And my favorite part was he just tweeted at me, "Get a life."
Oh no!
The mortician is telling me to get a life.
Yeah.
But the flip side is, I've heard much more positive feedback, and my favorite bit is that I've gotten to know one of the former writers for WWE, and he said that he and Road Dogg would often laugh backstage at my stuff, and they would show it to Vince McMahon, and he would chuckle at it. So apparently, I've heard through a source that Vince McMahon has at least gotten a kick out of some of my jokes, which is pretty gratifying.
That's funny. That's funny. You know, now, for my money, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I was going to say, looking at your writing, you know, there's a couple of different comedy methods you have at work. You know, you've got the absurdist stuff with the whole Hulk Hogan's brother idea, but then something as simple as this here, this headline: rumors rampant regarding Rowdy Ronda Rousey Royal Rumble return, and we dare you to read this whole story aloud. You did it. Thank you. I'm a professional, but that's a whole different type of comedy, and you hit it there too.
Yeah, he said you got to do the whole story.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that. But my question is, do you have any experience prior to this in comedy writing? Because your comedy writing is definitely it's well defined.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and no, I not really. No, I was a newspaper writer, and I've written columns and stuff. But no, this was kind of kayfabe news was my chance to see, to see if I could craft humor in a certain way. You know, there's a structure to it, and it's the structure is very much based on The Onion and that satirical news style. But kayfabe news has kind of become its own little thing, and yeah, it's been kind of my testing ground to play with humor and to see what works and what doesn't. And some jokes flop, and you know, I've published 3,000 of these articles, but I think I have 3,000 unpublished drafts of really bad ideas. Like, and so sometimes I publish bad ideas, and people tell me they're bad, not by saying that's not funny, but they just, you know, some jokes that don't click as much as others. But when they do, it's really gratifying, and you know, it's gotten to the point where I get to sort of unleash a joke into the world and then kind of sit back and watch where it goes. Like just hearing the throw, heard about it from a friend. That, you know, when I hear from a wrestler, like it's like sometimes I'll hear from a wrestler like jokingly, like, "Thanks a lot." Now all the fans are asking me about this or that. You know, I think Colt Cabana didn't love that I had a story where I put a bunch of wrestling promos through multiple layers of Google Translate, so they got more and more ridiculous over time through multiple languages. And the CM Punk pipe bomb promo, where he says, "Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing?" Turned into, "Hey, Horse Hut." You know, Colt Cabana turned into Horse Hut. Colt was like, "Hey, thanks a lot for creating Horse Hut. Now people are calling me Horse Hut." but he's got a good sense of humor. He doesn't mind too much, I think.
The one that always comes to mind for me is when you reported that Brock Lesnar's chest tattoo had gone completely flaccid, and you talked at length the last time I believe we had you on.
Wow.
Was there any kickback from Brock Lesnar on that one?
Oh, he can't read.
So it's, you know, Brock Lesnar is an interesting case because I have a lot of fun at his expense.
Yeah, you do.
Because he's this albino mountain gorilla with a tattoo of a dagger on his chest, and he's but I'll always remember. Again, I'm going to go back to Mick Foley. So I saw Mick Foley do a spoken word comedy thing live, and Foley sort of gave this speech, this sort of heartfelt speech, saying, you know, we wrestlers, we're humans too, and when we see you guys, you fans, commenting negatively online, it hurts our feelings, with one exception, Brock Lesnar. He said, Brock Lesnar does not care what you think. Truly does not care. And so I've taken some solace in the fact that if I pissed off Brock Lesnar, he could swallow me whole.
Right.
But he doesn't give a hoot what I'm saying. Like, I think his brain is just, he's got nothing to be insecure about, let's say. So, jokes at his expense. I used to worry a little bit about them, but now I'm like, no, he could break me in half anytime he wanted to. But the reason he's not in jail is because he doesn't use his powers for pure evil.
He saw that tattoo. He had to know. Like, there is never a point in time when he did not know what that was going to look like. Like, those who've been tattooed, there is several steps to the process.
I feel like he did it as a challenge to us, right? He picked that tattoo off the wall and said, yeah, you know what? I'm putting a penis on my chest, and I dare you to say something about it, fat guy.
Another story I did about that tattoo was the idea that he's finally had a tattoo artist add the testicles to the bottom of it. This idea that he just had a scrotum added to the bottom of the tattoo.
I think if there was one that was going to piss him off, that would be the one.
Yeah, I know.
And
again, I think he's got a lot. He has other things to care about than little me making
protein powder and dollar signs.
I'm also a big fan of, and you do this frequently, where you mislabel people, and it's hilarious. It's great. He did one of Stunning Steve Austin not that long ago, and he asked if you can identify. He said he became a huge star. And he's like, no, it's not Charles Robinson. It's not Barry Windham. It's the man. I can't even say it. He reinvented himself as Waylon Mercy. That's right. None other than Dan Spivey, who went on to portray Mr. America, which I don't know who your sources are for these, but I always enjoy a good identification of a picture, and I also love the names. You know, sometimes you will, like, for example, what is the Undertaker's shoot name?
What is it?
Marcus
Depends on the
Alexander.
story.
Well, I call him Cab Calloway sometimes.
Cab Calloway. You called him Marcus Alexander Calloway one time?
Yep.
Oh yeah, Marcus Alexander Calloway. That's another one.
He portrayed
great.
Big Josh at one point in time, which is
Yeah. It's funny, I over time, because I've been doing this long enough,
Yeah.
there's these recurring jokes that I'm kind of making for myself, and if there's any like long-term readers, but you know, playing around with names like that. The gag that Dan Spivey was Mr. America is a recurring gag, and there were a few jokes, like the idea that Seth Rollins' middle name is not Freakin', but it's actually just Todd.
Yeah, I saw that.
Whenever I mention Seth Rollins, I actually spell out Seth Todd Rollins. And Rollins, the real Seth Rollins, had fun with that. He saw that story and he just tweeted the words Seth Todd Rollins. Just playing along with it.
That's funny. That's cool. I also wanted to ask you about the video. Now, you not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago now, you kind of have branched into producing videos for the site as well, and you know, they allow you to get a little more in depth with some of those stories. What was the thought process? Has it been difficult to kind of change gears and do that kind of stuff as well? It
was really cool. So I was just doing my own thing. You know, I'm a writer. I don't really have an interest in being on camera so much, so I always just sort of kept it to these written articles and the social media stuff. But I kept getting messages starting a few years ago. I would get messages now and then from various people, but one guy kept writing to me from What Culture, and and it a couple of people there were interested in doing sort of a newscast version, a video newscast version of Kayfabe News, and I resisted for the longest time. Well, I didn't resist. I just sort of stalled because, like, this thing is sort of my own baby. It's kind of, I have my own unique vision for it, and I kind of want to keep it to myself. But I kept talking to them, and realized that the people involved were super talented and smart with video and presentation and everything else. And so it's basically been the partnership with me and basically two other people who I've never actually met face to face. And I think I don't know how many videos we've put out. It's been a while. We're on a bit of a hiatus. It's just because, you know, life, real life happens, and you can't always focus on goofy wrestling stuff. But it was in a fairly short period of time. We got, you know, millions of views and tens of thousands of followers, and I couldn't be happier with it. Like, the most amazing thing was, you know, when I'm sitting here writing this stuff, sitting on my computer at home, like with a dog on my lap, I'm not making, you know, I'm not laughing at my own jokes. It's very sort of methodical, like delete, you know, replace, copy, paste, you know, put together an article. And but then when these guys in the UK started turning them into videos, I'd be seeing my sort of jokes told through a different way in a different medium, and I'd be laughing at them. I'd be like, "Oh, this is actually funny. This is great." Right. I'd be sort of surprised by my own jokes sometimes, and it was really refreshing. It is really refreshing.
like one of the last ones I saw, and I don't know how old this was, but it was talking about the Undertaker leaving WWE to go to AEW as the mortician. And you kind of it was I don't know if that was your thing or if that was theirs, but it had me busting up. It was great.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun, and I hope we'll do more of these. That I would write the script for the newscast, so I'd also be writing the words for the host, the guy behind the desk, flipping Marks. I'm not going to reveal his
Philip and Marks. Yep.
Philip and Marks. Yeah, flipping Marks. And so that was another thing because I hadn't written, for broadcast before. So I'm writing not only the articles but how they're told by the newscaster. And he was full of tons of ideas and great improv, and I didn't need much scripting. But again, it's super fun to try to repackage content in a way that it will work in video, and things that I didn't have at my disposal before, like visual gags. Running visual gags are now possible, and funny pronunciations and accents and goofy wigs. Basically, the most fun part, honestly, was no matter what I would write, good old Philip and Marks would do it. Without question. I'd send a script and be like, okay, here's what, like, you realize it says you'll do this whole thing in your underwear. Yep. It's been really fun.
One of the listeners wants to know, and you kind of were touching on it earlier, but do you have a favorite target? Like as far as who you're writing about, do you have a favorite person to pick on?
Yeah, it's us. Us wrestling fans, us people who talk about wrestling and think about wrestling and discuss it. A lot of the humor is really directed at fans because almost none of my jokes are about real people. They're about characters that are played on TV. I think that pretty. A story about Jeff Jarrett's music being pulled from Spotify. That's written completely in the belief, in the supposition that Jarrett actually wrote and performed those songs. It's so it's the joke is that we fans buy into this stuff in the first place. So, the joke is often at the expense, not at the expense of the fan, but at the joke is the idea that we're even buying into something so silly, One headline I had the other day was something like "Frustrated fan boycotts WWE for 26th time." I
appreciate you writing that about me.
A unique kind of fan who we have a strange love-hate relationship with this thing, and so a lot of times the humor, when you really boil it down, it's kind of poking fun at this strange thing that we're all talking about and watching and enjoying.
Yeah. One that came to mind for me when you talk about the fans is the one you actually posted it on the 1st of this year, and it talked about the fan that already had 6 candidates for the match of the year, and AEW, Dark, GCW, and New Japan. It's just amazing. Just great stuff. Colin, you definitely. You deserve a lot of applause, which I know you get from people because this website kind of makes my workday go by a lot better.
Oh, that makes me feel so good. Like it really is. When I write, it's not a moneymaker. I sell a few T-shirts and a few dollars trickle in the door, but I started writing it to amuse myself and my dad, who's watched wrestling with me my whole life, and we've made fun of it my whole life, and a couple of other friends who have the same sort of sense of humor and about wrestling, and now that people all over the place, all around the world, say things like that. I get messages from people saying like, "Boy, I needed a laugh today, and you provided it to me." That's
cool.
It's I didn't expect that to come out of this, that people would actually find it as a little ray of light in some pretty crappy times. But if that's what it is, then I'm delighted.
Well, you
Colin,
mentioned
you're as big a hero as John Cena is. And before we let you go, I'm going to answer the call. I'm going to read the article out loud.
Okay, yes.
Oh, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. All right.
If you can pull this one off, I've got one about Ryback and back pay for the back.
Oh, please, no Ryback. It's in my contract. No Ryback.
Rowdy Ronda Rousey, roundly regarded as a revolutionary wrestler, is reportedly reconsidering returning to wrestling at Royal Rumble. Ronda's really rethinking wrestling retirement, wrestler Rhea Ripley recently revealed to reporters. Ripley's ruminations on Rousey reportedly resonated with wrestling's reigning regal Roman Reigns. Reigns recently retweeted rather risque remarks by retired wrestler Ryan Ryback Reeves regarding wrestling's recent ruinous repetitiveness. Ryback talked of backroom kickbacks playing up the back pay he received for the Payback pay-per-view.
That is the best I've heard. I'm not joking. So I've seen one video. You should check my social media. I think it's on there on Twitter. From about a week ago, where one guy nailed it. Really fast, really good pronunciation. But then he showed blooper after blooper of all the times he screwed it up. You just did that live. You did on the.
That was completely unread.
Nothing but the best.
Yep. That's
and that's why I'm the best candidate to replace Pat McAfee.
Yeah. I now want to hear you read the Google Translate promos. I feel like you could. I'm very impressed.
That is cool.
Now my new challenge is going to be to write something that you can't read.
I mean, that won't be that hard.
Sounds like we've got a few features coming up on the site, just based on the conversation tonight. Colin, so you mentioned the T-shirt and you mentioned the social media. So where can people kind of buy a shirt and follow along online with everything that you've got going on?
So thanks for the opportunity to plug. I don't even want to plug my own stuff so much right now because I'm excited about a couple of other things.
Okay.
So I will plug, kayfabe news. If you just Google that, it's everywhere. And if you want a T-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/kayfabe news. But I've done a couple of really fun collaborations that are coming out soon. One, Colt Cabana has he's sort of the king of the wrestling podcasters, and he's been doing it just about longer than anybody. And he's had a series called Pro Wrestling Fringe, which is like a storytelling podcast about like cool, unique stories from wrestling. And I've collaborated with him on a really fun episode. I did some of the research and writing, and he did the speaking. And I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but keep an eye out for Colt's stuff. And
sure.
There's a podcast that's being recorded now, and it's going to be released starting really soon by two really good friends of mine. It's called An Unscripted Spectacle. And so it's about wrestling, but the premise is that one host is a super mega huge lifelong wrestling fan, like to the bone, and the co-host knows nothing about wrestling, and she's like, what is going on? And so each week they talk to a different guest. I was one. Colt Cabana's done it. They've talked to TJ Wilson and Jimmy Corderas. And anyway, it's a podcast like just about the love of wrestling. There's no like.
That's cool.
They don't even talk about like what's on TV nowadays, Raw or SmackDown. It's not about that. It's more sort of a philosophical discussion about why we all love this crazy thing. So that's called An Unscripted Spectacle, and it's coming out soon. And I think. Yeah, I've heard a few episodes and I just love it. Not just because it's by friends of mine and I'm on it, but I think it's really cool.
Well, coming out at the right time with Murderville just hitting Netflix, it feels very similar in that vein. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. It seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that show.
That's real good.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Colin, thank you so much for the time. I have a favor to ask. Would you mind recording what we call a bumper maybe play it at the beginning of the show sometimes?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Cool. So the name of the show is In the Room. Just kind of tell people who you are. Feel, definitely mention Kayfabe News, and and just you're listening to In the Room.
All right. Hey, I'm Colin Hunter from Kayfabe News, and if you only believe one thing I say, because you shouldn't believe anything I say, but if you believe one thing I say, you should listen to In the Room, wonderful wrestling podcast.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Would that do the trick?
No, it was perfect. I loved it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, Colin. And best of luck with everything, man. Hopefully the 10 years is just the beginning.
Thank you so much, and I hope I'll see you again in person one of these days. And
someday.
I'm going to keep listening to the rest of the show.
Someday. All right. Well, thank you, man, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks, Colin.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye. That was Colin Hunter, and be sure to check out kayfabenews.com. I know you guys got to get out of here as well as we head toward a commercial break, but anything either of you want to plug on the way out?
I really hope he
how does she do it like that?
That Sister Hogan story. That would make me so happy.
That was a great idea. Yeah.
He's
even got a photoshopped brother, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty great.
Yeah. He looks like I'll put it on the chat. It's pretty good.
All right. Go kill the rest of the show. We'll see you next week.
On my way out, I'd just like to quickly plug at Kayfabe News, and if you follow them on Twitter, you'll also be prompted to follow Lance Storm at Lance Storm. So please go follow Lance Storm. That's my plug for the evening.
Okay.
Great show, guys.
For a moment.
Good
All
stuff.
right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
See
so
you
much.
next week.
And
Thank you.
we're gonna take a commercial break right now, but on the other side, we're gonna get to the callers. We have Malcolm, we have Dr. John, and we have you as well. 914-338-1885. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network, and we will be right back.
Hey, this is Total Pack. This is Matt Hardy, and you are listening to the VOC Nation. Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling.
All right, 914-338-1885. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network. You can check us out live each and every week right here on VOCNation.com, courtesy of our good friends at Blog Talk Radio, and of course our sponsors, Pro Wrestling Interviews, and what a great job they do as well. Be sure to check out their stuff. Brady Hicks here. I've got with me the one and only Maestro of professional wrestling, Papa Stro. Before we jump back in and maybe even talk a little more kayfabe news, because that was fun, Stro. But before we get into that, what do you got going on this week?
Well, this Thursday night, WCW Retro, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on VOCNation.com. We'll be discussing dream matches. So if you have a favorite dream match of yours you'd like to share, please call in. Should be a lot of fun. And then Friday night, my horror sci-fi show, The Stro Zone, midnight Eastern Standard Time, on my official Facebook page at facebook.com/StroTheMaestro. The feature for Friday night will be Horrors, of Spider Island. So please tune in.
Horrors of Spider Island?
Yes. Horrors.
Nice.
Horrors, yeah.
Horrors, yeah.
And this weekend,
I dated a horror in college.
Oh, right on.
She was really scary, yeah.
Oh, I believe that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. This weekend,
I love them all.
Statesville Comic-Con. Big guest in the Statesville Comic-Con in Statesville, North Carolina at the Civic Center.
Okay.
From 10 to 5 p.m. So come check us out if you're in the area. I'm going to be also a special guest for the cosplay contest as well. But for more information, go to Statesville Comic-Con on Facebook for more info.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That sounds like that'll be a fun event for sure.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. Now, of course, I can't call in on Thursday, but for me, there was one dream match for a kid who watched wrestling start in the 80s all the way through to today, Stro. We never got Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold. And that was always the one I wanted, you know? We got The Rock. Yeah. We never got Stone Cold and Hogan.
Oh, that'd been tremendous.
And Austin thinks it would have sucked, he said. He just thinks they wouldn't have meshed well. But I disagree. I think it would have been really good. Especially if Hogan were the Hollywood Hogan, you know, just a little bit more coward-like. And, you know, I just think it would have worked. I think it would have been really cool. But, you know, for sure. For sure. You only get those, like, once-in-a-generation stars, like, once in a generation, you know? In fact, as much as I like Cena and Roman Reigns, I don't know that we've got another Rock or Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan or Bruno or anybody like that in those guys yet. I hope that someday, but it just doesn't quite feel it to me.
Yeah, me too. I hope we can get some new stars that are kind of more larger than life, you know what I mean?
Exactly, over the top. And right now, I think Roman is about the closest that we've come in a long time. But you know, you also need competition there, and there just hasn't been that level that he needs. Right. So, yeah, let's go to the phones. We'll open it up with 843, which is South Carolina. I'm not sure exactly. I think this is Malcolm, maybe. If not, the other one is for sure. What's going on? You're on In the Room.
Hey, Brady. I just want to tell you, I thought Kevin was funny doing that recital, you know, where he was talking about Ronda Rousey. But I think it would have been funnier if he would have done it instead of R's, but with W's, like Elmer Fudd. It would have been a lot funnier, Kevin.
Wanda Rousey.
So cool, man.
Wanda Rousey, Willie.
I want to meet Kevin. And I want to meet Patrick someday. I really have a lot of respect for them. Also,
they're good guys.
Brady. I've met Papa Stro.
Yeah.
Papa Stro. I'm going to think of one good dream match because I used to get on there and tell you like 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Week, so.
Go for it.
I'm cleaning it up, you know.
No, good. Yeah.
I'm really nervous because it's a week from Saturday, the 19th, I get to talk to the champ. I get to talk to Hogan for 5 minutes, and I'm going to Florida to do this.
What you gonna do?
Maybe I'll get a chance to meet him.
Wild on you, brother.
That's right.
Brady, I got so much to say to him. You know, all the signatures,
the
jacket I bought from these New York vendors in November 12th, 2005, this big-time wrestling anniversary show that Kirk White ran. You know, a bunch of big stars were there, and you know, and he was the first one. He was the first one, November 6, 2009, at the Book Soup was the name of the book shop in Hollywood, California. And it was 8 p.m. It was 4 hours before my 46th birthday. And Hulk Hogan signed my jacket. He was the first one ever to sign that jacket. And the signatures I've got on there since then, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Adam West, Burt Ward, there's Fred Dreyer and Stephanie Kramer from Hunter, John Amos from Hunter.
Bret Hart signed it, didn't he?
Bret Hart, Bret signed it. Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper signed it, and Ric Flair signed it. The Undertaker signed it. I couldn't believe that one. I mean, everybody's telling me he won't sign that. Yeah, I should have had the Ultimate Warrior sign it. I should have listened to those fans. I think Jim Hillowig would have signed it for me. He really liked me, you know.
Rob Feinstein could hook you up with an Ultimate Warrior autograph.
He could.
And another thing,
he might even get him to sign the jacket somehow.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just playing, Rob.
Brady, when I meet you, I want you to sign the jacket. Is that all right with you?
Oh, brother, I would love it. I would be honored. Stroke, you know, Malcolm used to drive around and
Patrick.
Okay. Yeah, you know how I met them, Malcolm? Malcolm, you know how I met them? Go ahead. It's okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Your guest, Colin Hunter? Tell me he doesn't
Colin
sound
Hunter.
like one of my favorite actors, Judge Reinhardt. He sounds like Judge Reinhardt.
A little bit.
Colin Hunter sounds like Judge Reinhardt.
I could see that, yeah.
And I think it's, you know, I want to meet Colin Hunter. I think he's funny. I would love to take a picture with him someday.
He's a good guy.
Hilarious.
He's up in Canada, actually.
You guys have me laughing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
he's great. He's great.
He's very creative and humorous. You know,
he writes that entire website by himself, Malcolm. More than 10 years.
He's great.
He's amazing.
That's the guy. And then, would you tell Kevin? His last name Kevin Hagen? Is the guy on there with you? Is it Hagen?
Kevin Brady, actually. Kevin Brady.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin Brady. It looks like your first name. I should have got that.
Yeah.
But tell Kevin Brady. Kevin, you sound like, and you mentioned him too, from old WCW announcing Mark Madden. He sounds like Mark Madden.
A little bit. I could see that.
Kevin, but it's a compliment.
Yeah.
Great. You know, your voice.
He's not.
Kevin and Patrick too.
Yeah, they're not. You know that they're already gone for the night, but I'll make sure to mention it. You know, I went to college with both those guys. That was how I knew them. That we did college radio together.
Wow, that's so cool, Brady.
Yeah, before VOC Nation.
That's cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they're good guys.
To meet them.
Yeah.
Well, I've been very blessed, Malcolm. I've been very blessed. I was going to say, I want to sign. You know, Stro, back in the day, before his jacket, he used to drive around in a car, and he would have people sign his car.
Oh wow!
And
I would have loved that.
That'd been cool. Yeah.
I had a lot of signatures on that.
Yeah, you did,
Brady. But I'm asking David. It's becoming an eyesore. It's really hard to drive, you know, especially when I drove it. It's an Oakland Raiders car, and
you still have it?
Kansas City, Missouri.
You still have the car?
On Dave's property, Velvet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on his property. I told Dave I want to sell it. I said, could you scrape Kenny Stabler's signature on there? Because I don't want anybody to Kenny sign that for me. I really look up to Kenny. You know, if I had one wish, Brady, if I could have anything in the world, I would move the Raiders back to Oakland because that's where they belong.
I agree.
It just hurts.
I agree.
Those games at home.
I agree. I don't think they're ever going to go back either, and that's a shame.
I didn't, you know, Brady, I didn't care if they won, but man, being around all those fans in Oakland, I mean, I stirred stuff up, doing push-ups.
Yeah.
It was fun, you know.
And in Vegas, it's not the same personality, right? Now it's just money.
Yeah. It's just, you know, they killed it with this money stuff. It started
yeah.
They did the free agency in '75. They brought Catfish Hunter from the A's to New York Yankees. You know, that's where it all started.
Well, it might as well be the Wayne Newton Raiders.
Anyway.
That's the truth. That's the truth, brother.
Did you tell?
You're the man.
If you talk to Colt Cabana,
talk
to Colt Cabana.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
2010.
Okay.
Yeah, and tell Colt that he told me not to call him Colt Cabana. In January 2010, he told me he's got to call him Scotty Goldman. Now he doesn't want to be Scotty Goldman. He wants to be Colt Cabana. It's like, yo, Colt Cabana, I'm confused.
What did Colin say his name got changed to? Horse House or whatever? I forget what it was. Colt Cabana, Horse House. Yeah.
Colt Cabana. I like Colt Cabana so much. I mean,
yeah.
I had so much fun with him that first time.
He is funny.
Every time I met him after that.
He was great until he went to AEW. Now he's just a guy.
Brady, I'm nervous, man, because anybody else, I wouldn't be nervous, but this is the champ. This is Hulk Hogan. This is the guy that beat the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden January 23rd, 1984, before I went to Korea right after the Raiders won their last Super Bowl and beat the Redskins 38-9 in Tampa, where Hogan lives. And I didn't even know that at the time.
Yeah.
But, you know,
we all thought he was from Venice Beach.
I told Ronnie Howard, I want the champ to lead this interview. I want him to tell me what to do, when to speak, when not, because he's the champ. He's my hero. He's not my original hero. My original heroes were Adam West and Burt Ward. I told him that a long time ago. But him and Roddy Piper are my two all-time favorite wrestlers, and I miss Roddy Piper. I had so many good times with Roddy Piper. I remember my dad. I said, you remind me of my dad. You reminded me of my dad, the way he talked, the way he was built and everything. And Rodney said, Malcolm, I love to meet your dad. And I talked to Randy Savage on the phone, and I told him when Dad saw you he saw you do something funny, and he was laughing about it. I said, Randy, Dad wanted to meet you, and Randy goes, yeah, I'd like to meet your dad too. that was 3 months before he died, but I mean, Randy was, you know, I just think I know everybody's got these conflicts, you know, and some of them I tell Hulk Hogan when I talk with him a week from Saturday.
You should ask him what his favorite drink is.
I'm going to mention Kirk White.
Malcolm.
Yeah, what is his favorite drink?
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's orangeade.
I'm going to mention.
Like Tang?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tang.
And,
that was Elvis's favorite drink. Tang.
That's Jerry Lawler's favorite drink.
Yeah.
Tang.
Yep, right.
That's bad. I'm being bad. You know when I met Jerry Lawler. Hold on, Malcolm. Malcolm, hold on. When I met Jerry Lawler, I was talking to Stacy. One second. So when I was at a convention, and Jerry Lawler was right across the way, and I always wanted to meet him. And I actually happen to have a really close kind of friend that is also friends with him, Stacy Carter, his ex-wife. So I called her up, and I was like, you know, I really want to talk to Jerry, and I don't want to come off as creepy, like, you know, what should I say to him? Because I want him to, like, you know, like me. I don't want to. So she's like, oh, you guys are going to have the same personality. Like, you know, just go over there and, like, crack a joke with him, and he'll like you. So I went over there, and I said something like, you know, well, your ex-wife said we have the same sense of humor. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry for you, is what he said. Yeah. I always enjoy that story. Sorry, Malcolm, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
I did something that made Jerry the King Lawler at the Call Rally Club. I think it was in 2019. Did you see it, Papa Stro? When I held up the Raider flag and taking a picture?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he's a Browns fan.
I said, Jerry, I'm sorry, man. He's like, it's all good, man.
Oh, man.
He's laughing. And what's his name? Dory Funk Jr. was there with his agent. They were laughing too. You know, but
oh, my goodness.
I can tell Hogan one thing. If there's one wrestler, you know, and I know you guys were joking about him, I'm gonna tell Hulk I really want to meet him. I also want to meet Mr. T and Sylvester Stallone from the Rocky III movie. You know, if you can arrange that for me. I know they're still around.
See what I can do.
But I want
you know, Christmas is still a while away, Malcolm. So you got plenty of time to make your list.
Yeah, make your list.
John Cena is he's the Hulk Hogan of this generation to me. He's patriotic.
Yeah.
He's a champion. You know, he knows how to speak in front of a crowd. He's got his own personality. I'm sorry, I got to say this. You know, if anybody can carry the Hulkamania today, it's John Cena, and I'm dying to meet John Cena. I hope I get to meet him someday.
You think he's the next Hulk Hogan?
And another guy.
If you can see him, that'd be great. John Cena.
Yeah.
You know,
he sees himself when he goes.
I'd like to meet the Miz. Brady, I'd like to meet the Miz and John Cena together. It'd be like Hogan against Piper this generation, because the Miz is so much like Robbie. You know, he's
yeah.
He does.
Brother,
that'd be breaking kayfabe, no pun intended.
Brother, you're oozing machismo, though. I gotta say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go, man. But this has been. I love talking to you, Malcolm.
My buddy
Malcolm.
Jay Lethal.
Malcolm,
can you do a Jay Lethal? Jay Lethal does the Macho Man, so.
Yeah, can you do?
Jay Lethal. We were at big time wrestling, and I went in the ring to take a Polaroid. Kirk arranged it, and he's doing the Macho Man. I go, well, you know something? I'm talking like Hogan. And Jay Lethal later on, he's taking on Jason Styles in the main event. Jason Styles, the irresistible one. He's kind of like a combination of Ravishing Rick Rude and Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. And he comes out to Jump by Van Halen. But first, Jay Lethal comes out. And it comes out to the Macho Man's, you know, theme. Kirk puts that across. And he grabs the microphone and goes, I got a partner. And I'm going to go in the back and get my partner. And he comes down he goes all the way to the back, and Alan Bolte, the announcer's there, and he's laughing, and all the fans are laughing, and Jay goes, what, you got a match tonight against Jason Styles? He goes, what about it, Hulkster? Give me what your insight. I go, well, you know something? The mega powers are reason, you know. And man, we almost blew a
jump off the Newark Pavilion. I mean, everybody was laughing. And Jay helped me. He had me help him win the match. He had me hold a steel chair against a steel post.
Yeah.
And he was going to ram Jason's head
This guy's nuts.
and win on a disqualification that he did. And then after the match was over,
Brother.
he called me in the ring and he raised
He's doing
my
commentary for the whole match.
my arm.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Brother, I'm going to let you go. I got no more air. I need air. Thank you, brother. I love you, Malcolm. Please call back.
Yes, please.
You're the man, dude. Please call back soon. And give Mike my best, too. I miss
Love
that
you, Mal.
guy.
I will.
I love you, Malcolm. He's great.
Oh, my goodness.
He's great. I could talk to him all night long.
I believe it.
No, literally. I wouldn't even have to talk. I could just say, "Hey, how you doing?" And like 2 hours later, here we are. He's great. He's really
Right,
good.
yeah.
We're gonna venture like the very close to the same area code actually.
All right.
South Carolina. Let's see.
South Carolina's hot tonight.
I'm thinking Dr. John. What's going on? You're on In the Room.
No, it's not Dr. John.
Oh, it's the other guy. Hi. How you doing, sir?
Oh, yeah, the other guy.
Velvet, amazing Velvet.
Yeah. What makes you amazing?
Listening to Malcolm.
Ask him.
Yeah, you're a little what? You're a little winded?
I said, I'm a little winded from listening to Malcolm myself.
Yeah, aren't we all? I said I'm running out of air.
Man.
I love
I'm
you guys.
blown up, man. I'm blown up.
I got a deal.
He's like Ric Flair. You know you're going to go 60 minutes.
How far from you?
Right.
Exactly.
Nah,
Yeah.
I love you, Malcolm. I know he's still
Anyway,
listening.
yeah,
I
do have his car in my yard. I'm taking care of his car, so I have his car, and it's.
Oh, is it your? Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was at David
it's at my
Arquette's
place.
house. Okay,
Yeah,
it's at your place.
David Arquette.
No.
Would you be able to
There's a
take a
guy named
picture of it and send it to us?
We would love to see
absolutely.
Please, yeah. I mean, I've seen it years
Absolutely.
ago in videos, but Stro, he's got everybody on there. You know,
it. Oh, does he? Oh, man.
There are all these raiders and wrestlers, and it's amazing. It's just a silver car with like Sharpie autographs all over it.
Oh, man.
And he's got the numbers for the retired players and
stickers all over it.
yeah, exactly.
Collector's item, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What's going on with you, AV?
I appreciate y'all with the commercial. That was awesome. I really dig that. That was nice.
Well, you know what? You guys have been really good to us.
Well, you've been really good to us, so I mean, I love it, all of it. I just, we're all trying to work together to do the same thing.
Sure, sure.
Let's talk wrestling. Let's talk to some people, and let's have a good time. And maybe get something out of somebody you hadn't heard before. So, and that's what I try to do. So, like Susan had some new stories for the first time, and I was like, all right, we got to hear these.
Susan Green, you mean?
But yeah, Susan Green. I'm sorry, Susan Green.
No, it's okay.
Last Sunday.
What is it like to get these stars on the show? I mean, as a fan, it's got to be really cool.
It is, but I was trained by Susan Green way back in the '90s, so I'm one of her students.
Okay.
So I've been beat. There's a famous.
She beat it out of you.
Match, and oh yeah, Thomas Simpson, who was one of the creators of Omega Wrestling with the Hardy Boys and all
right.
those
Okay.
guys, was actually at the match I'm talking about where we had a rookie that was going to wrestle Susan, and the running gag for me and her was if nobody wanted to work her, I had to take one for the team. So I'm lacing my boots, and I see her walk up, and I go, "What's going on?" She goes, "Well, the kid I'm supposed to wrestle ain't back here, and I think his gear bag's gone." I went, "Oh, great." So it was a false count anywhere in the building. Nothing, everything goes. She broke 2 kendo sticks over me. She hit me with a stick, threw me to the dressing room drawer, threw me back to the dressing room.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I rolled down the stairs. I did it all. And she was like, "How'd you like that?" I was like, "Don't talk to me. I'm laying on the cold floor in the back going, just leave me alone for 10 minutes or so."
Right.
But yeah, I love her to death. She's awesome. We got some new Japan stories out of her, which was pretty cool with her time in Japan. I'm probably going to do a series with her because she did 6 months in New Zealand and travel with Ric Flair for those 6 months. So I want to get that out.
Okay, cool.
Before we lose those, you know what I'm saying? Before we lose
Yeah.
stories, and we'll try to get that done.
So you're talking about all these interviews and stuff. So where can people find these again? I mean, obviously we played the commercial, but we're talking about pro wrestling interviews.
Pro Wrestling Interviews. ProWrestlingInterviews.com. It takes you to Facebook. It has everything. You can also go on Blog Talk Radios and put in Pop Culture Stars to run to that banner on the Blog Talk.
Okay.
So they can find everything on us there too. But best thing to do is go through ProWrestlingInterviews.com. Takes you to Facebook, and you can go to all of them. So it's pretty cool.
You were telling those Susan. You were telling the Susan Green story. Stro, did I ever tell you the Tony Stetson story with the birthday cake? It's like one of my favorites.
No, please.
So you know Tony Stetson, right? The Hitman. He was in TWA and ECW in the early days. South Philly guy. He and really old school Velvet. So like he comes to a show and we're doing this thing where it's Tony Stetson's birthday. So we got the birthday cake there, and you know the kid, one of his students is bringing it out to him in the ring. This kid. And it's a whole, I mean, you know how this goes down because you've seen it a million times. So the kid ends up with the birthday cake in his face. And they go backstage, Stro. And the kid comes up to Tony Stetson and he says, "Hey, brother, thank you so much, but I got to tell you, you were a little stiff with the cake." You were a little stiff with the cake.
That's funny.
He never worked again. Not for us anyway. Can you imagine saying that to somebody?
I bet not.
What would Susan Green have said if you said, you hit me a little hard with that birthday cake?
She would beat me some more. Or tell me,
just funny.
I'll meet you at the gym on Tuesday night at 7:00. I'm like, oh, get beaten again.
You got a whole bakery there when you show up, you know?
She'd have everything.
You'd have a croissant on your face.
Potatoes and everything else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
I've seen it. I've seen her do it too. So
yeah,
it's fun. I've had a good journey with her.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I've worked her more than enough. And Judy Martin, I worked her too. Oh my God, that was awful.
Oh.
Judy's a knee dropper, if you don't know. I made her mad.
Yeah. They're not the kind of women you want to wrestle.
I made her mad. It was her 50th. Yeah. No. Yeah, her 50th birthday party. It was a 6-man tag. Yeah.
Put me in there with today's generation. You know, I feel like I could hang with those women, but not with no way.
Oh, because there's you got to realize they started when it was still almost, legit, basically.
Yeah.
They were just catering each other.
Exactly, man.
You're like, no,
exactly.
I'm good. Because we met Tony Rose, that lives in, that was a wrestler here in the Carolinas, and she was a Moolah girl, and I got to meet her with Susan. We put her in the Carolina Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award as well. And she was ruthless. I watched the match with her and said, nope, I'm good. Nope. Yeah, I'd take today's women over them any day of the week.
Me too.
Any
especially those kind of matches that I'm thinking. But no, that's great, Velvet.
I get you.
Wait, hold on. I got it right here. Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my
the dream match. Yeah.
Oh, Alexa Bliss, absolutely, baby.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got to watch my words really carefully.
Absolutely.
I'm just playing, of course. I'm just playing, of course. No, Velvet, thank you so much for calling in tonight, man. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, man. The whole show was good. I listened to the whole thing, and it was awesome. And I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Call back again soon, man.
Let's keep this partnership going, and
let's do it. Do it up, brother. Give Dr. John my best too.
All right, man.
All right.
I will.
Love you, brother.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks.
Love you, Velvet.
All right.
See you.
All right.
Appreciate you. We still got we got a little bit before we're off the air tonight. 914-338-1885. Joe, you got time for one more caller? I didn't want to miss him. That's why I kind of rushed Velvet off.
Yeah. Oh, by all
this
means.
is actually this should actually be cool, and I think the fans of VOC Nation are going to be in for a treat because we were able to add a really kind of a new talent, I should say, to the VOC Nation roster. Going to be joining with a new podcast, I would think, coming up really soon. He's a longtime wrestling journalist. He's written for my website and other places as well. And his name is Ryan DeLorge out of New York City. He's a tremendous wrestling fan, and I think he's going to be a great asset to the network. And we're going to bring Ryan on right now to say hello to everybody. How you doing tonight, Ryan?
Well, hello. What an introduction. Thank you.
What a do? What a do?
And, yeah, you make me sound bigger than I am. That's for sure.
Well, that's the idea.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello,
except for myself. I make myself sound smaller than I am.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know think if I could live up to Malcolm's Mr. T Hall of Fame speech there, but
yeah, I was going to tell you that's your next co-host. I'm just playing.
Yeah, that's no, that's great. No, that was. I mean, do you remember the Mr. T thanking his mom?
I do. Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight? I missed the middle of the show because I had some kids screaming, but in the beginning, the commentator conversation that really drew my attention. I feel like we're never going to have a different situation. We're never going to have the past when Vince McMahon is yelling in someone's ear, right? I mean, so if you're talking about the commentators from the 80s and early 90s, it's just not doable again in my mind. So it's less of a judge of the character. I don't know. That's how I feel. But
I agree. I mean, listen, and here's just my opinion, okay? If you want the announcers to be over the top and entertaining, then your roster needs to be over the top and entertaining. And right now, everybody's just overexposed. There's too much television. There's very few things on any given show to get excited about, like really, truly excited about. So it's hard to step up and be effective. I think if Bobby Heenan were on the air for 5 hours a week, I think maybe I don't want to trash Bobby Heenan twice in one show, Stro, because I thought he was amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. It's much easier.
You're right.
It's much easier. That's why Andre the Giant was successful, not because he was on 3 hours of Raw every week, but because he was a special attraction. And
absolutely,
there's nobody who's a special attraction anymore.
I mean, even talking about with Malcolm, if Cena is the next Hogan, you can't bottle that the same if you're going to oversaturate them. I mean, I guess Brock Lesnar would be a better, or if The Rock comes back or something, when you're going, you're just the main event every month. You know, you can't be the next Hulk Hogan if we see you 6 hours a week.
That's the thing. Their special attractions are all legends now. They're people that. And all it does is it makes you pine for the past.
Or they're not wrestlers. Or they're
not wrestlers.
Special attractions are not even wrestlers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's where you're saying with McAfee too. I mean, I think he's doing a good job, but Pat McAfee. But
I can't stand him personally. I think he's just a yeller.
Well, but you forget. Right, but we're going to watch. I'm going to watch wrestling no matter what. If you're going to bring an audience over like that, I mean, that's already listening to him. I think followers, all that stuff will matter. And I mean,
my thing is
he's going to wrestle another match. I would think.
Yeah, probably. My thing is like because I multitask while I watch wrestling. Most of the time, I'm working because I work from home. I watch wrestling while I work. That's how I consume as much wrestling as I do. So for me, the commentators tell a huge part of that story because I can't be staring at the TV at any given moment. So like what they're telling me is kind of, and what I hear Pat McAfee, I just can't stand it. I just can't stand it.
Right.
That's just me.
I mean, the
That's
other part where you're saying if you sorry to interrupt, but if you're saying you multitask, That's the other sad part, is that you could multitask now, and that's just a mirror to the product. The only time I'm not multitasking now, and that's why I know AEW's a little getting hot, because I'm going to pay attention in the beginning and stuff like that, and not fast forward or whatever. So that's the only reason it's good. And what's sad about the beginning of Raw right now, it's the first time ever that I'm multitasking for the first 5 minutes. I used to always have to pay attention then.
Now,
Kind of sad. But,
well, 4 times a year technically. It's the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes the night after the Royal Rumble, and the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes the night after WrestleMania. That's it. The rest of the year, I don't need to watch it live. I hate.
It's so true that they've trained us that way too.
No, it is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
It is, but I think people are getting a real kind of feel. Go ahead.
At least now with AEW, at least Adam Cole, like that. At least was. I know that in 60-day clause stops the like next day need to watch, but like there's a little more new things to at least see. You know, who knows what Wednesday's going to be, or you know, but.
Well, Ryan, I think people got a really,
but it's a different time.
Now I was gonna say, like, I think people got a really good kind of sense of the knowledge that you're going to bring to the table on the air, and you know, what can people look forward to, you know, as you join VOC Nation? You know, what's there to get excited about with the Ryan DeLorge experience here?
Sure. So if you liked Malcolm's speech, no, I'm joking. So here's
I loved it.
I could tell. No, I'm not Malcolm. Love you, and you're spot on about your heroes, and the Macho Man is the best one there. So you know. Yeah.
I always say Malcolm is our all-purpose running back. I can just hand him the ball, and he's going to run for 2 hours if I need to.
And you can multitask.
And I can multitask.
Yeah, it just. Yes, exactly. I would say I'm coming with from a fan's eyes, but jaded like us all. But I try to always kind of see the glass half full. I try to think that there's all a plan in the end, that we are going to somehow have our next Hogan Rock WrestleMania. Like that's like you do it for that feeling, and I want to bring that love and that joy of those moments that you could just bottle up and remember, and like hopefully just share that with the people listening and the people talking. And Stro, what an honor, I must say, you know, fan here. So
no, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure we'll talk really soon, Ryan. But thank you for the time, and people be on the lookout for Ryan DeLorge. Yeah.
Hey,
all right.
Have a wonderful.
Take care, brother. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See, I can't say I love him yet, Stro, but I like him a lot, and I think that's safe to say. We'll get there. I'll love him eventually. I love everybody. You'll notice, you know. Like this guy. What's going on, Steve?
Oh, not much. Just listening in. I'm glad Belva called in.
Did you hear the interview earlier, Steve? I think you'll really like it.
No, I unfortunately had to get ready for work, but I will listen back to it. What was the highlight for you from it? Talk about it.
Well, so we interviewed the guy that writes. He's basically responsible for the Kayfabe News website, and I don't know. It's just a cool. He just gave some cool insight, you know. I don't know. I appreciate that kind of stuff, like kind of learning how the sausage is made, if you will. You know, I just thought it was neat.
Does he have a team of writers, or is it just a small crew? Like,
it is just him.
How was it?
It is just him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I've known that for a while. You know, So he used to write at Pro Wrestling Illustrated with me, and then at some point he stopped doing that, and he kind of wanted his own thing. So he started the website 10 years ago, and it just started out kind of a joke with him and his dad. But it's grown to the level that it's at now, you know, where like even the wrestling community has like kind of embraced him in a lot of ways. So it's funny. But he's a very talented fellow and great sense of humor. I think if people aren't familiar, they should definitely check out kayfabenews.com. And yeah, it's cool to see. It was cool to see. And like I said, I like Colin. He's a good guy. He's a funny guy, and I like to see good guys succeed. So there wasn't any particular point during the interview that I was like, oh well, like this is amazing, but just the whole thing. It was just a cool story. So.
Was the Onion an influence? I'm wondering what satire writers he would have been influenced by.
Yeah, he mentioned Stro. Do you remember? I know he mentioned the Onion.
Yes.
I forget exactly how he put it. Basically,
I'll have to listen back.
Yeah, I think it was like comparing like a lot of like the blind enthusiasm of a lot of wrestling fans paired with like the Onion. You know, is I think how he put it. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. But definitely listen back. So.
Was he broke for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, so I imagine he must have read the old magazines.
Yeah, he did. And he said actually that was the other thing that he had kind of referenced, you know, the old kayfabe writing style, you know, the telling the stories like that.
I think I think Apter is doing something similar to this day.
Who is?
But Apter. I think.
He's writing for Sportskeeda now.
Yeah.
But he is still, you know, affiliated with us. But I think their show is just on hiatus. So.
What year did you know the kayfabe news guy? Like when he was writing the Pro Wrestling Illustrated?
Oh, probably like 06 to like. I think I met him in like 9 or 10. So, and then I don't know when he stopped writing for PWI, but yeah, he started kayfabe news in 11 or 12.
Yeah, because 11 or 12 was kind of a weird period for WWE. I mean, you had CM Punk, his rise, but
yeah,
it was like just a weird time. But
well, like, yeah,
06 would have been a good era to get into. If you're in the Northeast, like you got that Ring of Honor, that mid 2000s.
Oh yeah,
Ring of Honor
like
period.
that's when I started with PWI. You know, that was 06. That was Ring of Honor, you know, that was Daniel Bryan at his height and Samoa Joe and TNA was just starting to take off and Edge and Lita were having sex in the ring and there was all kinds of exciting stuff going on everywhere, you know?
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the Indies in the mid-2000s. I just mainly knew WWE, but
like for me, it started out with the Super 8 tournaments. You know, that's how I kind of started with the Indies. Was going to those.
How big is the Pro Wrestling Illustrated team then? Like, is there writers from other states like cross country or internationally or just the East Coast?
Back then or now?
Both.
So, I was part of an effort that I think started in like 05 or 06. Before that, they generally had a bunch of on-staff writers that all came to the office, you know, like the Dave Rosenbaum and the Bill Apter and the Dan Murphy. Well, Dan Murphy was a freelancer, but Brandy Mankiewicz or whatever, Eddie. I mean, there's a bunch of them, you know what I mean? And by the time that I started with them, they were mostly starting to focus on the freelancers, both in the Philadelphia area and like kind of outside of that. Like Colin is up in Canada, myself and Kevin McElvaney, we were you know, Philly area. There were a few of us. Like Dan Murphy's up in Buffalo, and so we were kind of spread out, you know. And that's kind of the model that they have today, where almost everybody works remotely with it, except for a couple people in the office. So.
Yeah, that's what the word I was looking for is remotely, because it seems like EWG has been around so long. It's kind of taken that Ring of Honor place where it's not on TV, but it's like the hot indie.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like,
them and MLW is the other one.
To have been,
yeah.
Exactly. It would have been cool to be in those areas at that time, and when they, way before the New Japan stuff, way before they.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Philly area was really cool because we had Ring of Honor and we had CZW, and they even did invasion angles and stuff back in the day, So but I used to go to the Armory and watch the Ring of Honor shows and stuff like that, and yeah, for sure. So.
Did you ever have I got a guest question. Did you ever have Jimmy Jacobs in the room, or any other, or ever do any interviews for Wrestling Illustrated with him?
With Jimmy? No, but I mean, I know he's done stuff with the magazine. I've never interacted with him directly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he seems like he does interviews, but he seems to do it for like small shows. I'm just wondering, like, Instagram is probably the way to get to him, but like he still writes for Impact, and I don't know, he'd be an interesting guest just always thinking of underrated people.
Sure.
I missed Retro last week, but I'm sure it was pretty good. The underrated topic, and then Retro this week should be good too with the dream matches.
Yeah, can't wait.
Retro's an amazing show. You do such a good job with that, Stro. I love the topics and the looking back.
Yeah, brings back a lot of cool memories.
For sure. Did you have anything else, Steve? I think we're about done for the evening.
I was really disappointed with Brian Kindred. I understand why they did it. It was weird timing, like for that to resurface right before he debuted on AEW.
Well, somebody stooged him out.
I understand. Yeah, I understand their decision to not have him on, but it was awful timing, I thought. And
crazy, like, what a bad week to ask for your release,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the truth is, somebody could have stooged him out when he was under contract with WWE, and they would have let him go over it too, I'm sure. So.
Oh yeah.
You wonder who's the one leaking it. Is it WWE themselves, like somebody in the company, or is it a fan that's upset that he was going to AEW that did it?
Yeah, I don't know if Dixon's fan was mad at him working for AEW, because he seems to be the one that kind of leaked it. But I don't know if somebody leaked it to him. But do you have any thoughts on people searching for like old dirt on wrestlers and resurfacing it? Because it seems like that's been a problem, not just in wrestling, but entertainment in general.
Well, that's why I'm really glad that we fly under the radar. No, I'm only playing. Actually, somebody said to me once, Steve, they asked me why I never got a job with WWE, and aside from being able to say that, they just were never interested in hiring me for anything, I probably got 13 years of like audio samples why they probably would never want me to be part of their company. So, it is what it is. I think, unfortunately, the reality is that when you live in the public eye, and, certainly wrestlers live in the public eye very much. So when you've got that going on, I think a lot of times you're almost held to a higher standard than other people. That's not to say that what he said was correct or that what he said was right. But by the same token, if if one of our callers says something on the air, they're not going to lose their job over it. Do you know what I mean? So it is kind of a higher standard.
Yeah, just on Twitter recently, I saw it. I think his name was well-respected wrestler, but he still goes by Jervis Cottonbelly, I think. Is that still the same guy? And he was defending Kendrick, and he got in trouble just for defending his friend. And I'm just like, oh god, like, you can't even defend your friend, after he's gotten the backlash. It's just weird. And then like, it seems like that culture is everywhere.
I think, it's a matter of like, what are you defending? You know, like, are you defending the use of that word, or are you trying to say that somebody made a mistake? Because I think it's fine to say that somebody made a mistake. It's not fine to pass it off like it didn't mean anything and we should ignore it. Because I think it even meant something when he said it. It's just maybe his perspective changed from when he was in his probably 20s.
Yeah.
So,
I think early 30s, but I don't like to end it on down note. But
no.
I'm glad you had Velvet on, and glad you had the kayfabe news writer on. I'm gonna have to listen back to that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having me on.
Sure, Steve. No, thank you for
thank you,
calling in,
Steve.
brother. It's always a pleasure. And we'll talk to you real soon, man. And take care. And by the way, Straw, I got a message from Mike, so he must have been listening earlier. Mike Wildman, so Malcolm's brother. He said he misses the show and he hopes all is well. And he's going to call in next week.
All right.
That's what he said. So we'll see.
Good to hear
and
from
he also
Mike.
sent me a neat little gif of Alexa Bliss shaking her head no for some reason. Okay. No. Alexa, stop. I got this thing. I got to change this device's name.
Alexa.
Because now anytime I mention that person, it goes off. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this week. Stro, what do you got going on, man?
WCW Retro Thursday night on VOCNation.com, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about dream matches.
90 seconds.
So call in if you have your favorite dream match you'd like to share. And then Friday night on the Stro Zone at midnight Eastern Standard Time at Facebook.com/Stro the Maestro. The feature Friday night will be Horror of Spider Island. Horrors, rather, plural.
Horrors.
Horrors, yeah. Spider Island.
Not the horror of Spider Island.
All right. Oh, my God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And then
that'd be a good one, though.
This weekend, February 12th,
60 seconds.
I'll be at the Statesville Comic-Con, signing autographs and taking pictures with the fans from 10 a.m., I think, to 5 p.m. at the Statesville Civic Center in Statesville, North Carolina. And also going to be judging the cosplay contest as well. So come out and see us if you're in the area. And for more information, go to Statesville Comic-Con on Facebook.
All right, and there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to In the Room this week right here on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network. Be sure to check out all the other great shows available each and every week, VOCNation.com and your favorite podcast provider. Buy a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Thank you to the callers. Thank you to Colin Hunter from Kayfabe News. Thank you to the best casting crew I could ever ask for. And, everybody be good to each other.
Seconds.
Super 8 coming up on March 26th, so everybody take care. Be good to each other. I love you all very much. Bye-bye.